Alrighty, Let's Here for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video. I know it's been a while, I'm sorry about that. I've been very busy working a lot of 9-hour shifts at work. Don't have much time to do much of my own stuff, and school started yesterday, so yeah, fun stuff. But let's get on to this. So, with Link Frames Pack 2 being confirmed a while ago, and we have little to no news on it, yeah, I know there was that leaked list going around, and yes, the leaked list of the 20 archetypes from Link Frames Pack 1 was pretty much dead on, if my memory is correct. Like, everything that was in that leaked list was true, or almost everything. But, however, I don't know. So, I want to offer 20 anime archetypes that I feel like need links for Link Frames Pack 2. Now, notice I said just that need links in general. These could be, because I know that more than likely, not all of them, if any of these will be in Link Frames Pack 2. I would love to see each of these decks get some brand new links. Preferably in Link Frames Pack 2. I know they haven't confirmed if it's going to have the same stipulation as the first one, but however, according to the rumors, that won't be the case. So, the reason why I bring that up is because in the first one, they said no anime archetypes. All game original, end of story. And this time around, it apparently, according to rumors, it's going to be reverse of that. Anime archetypes. Or archetypes that have been seen in the anime that may be originally game original, but as long as they popped up in the anime, they're good to go. Now I'm just gonna keep this to just anime archetypes decks that were that came from the anime and originate from the anime. So, without much further ado, in no particular order, here are 20 anime archetypes that I feel like need links. But first, before we get to the actual main ones, here's some honorable mentions. Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, and Red Eyes. So why am I just putting these guys in the honorable mentions? Because, let's be honest, it's a shoehorn for it, and I felt like that putting them here would be rather obvious. Okay, these three are three decks that Konami loves to give random support to at random times whenever they just feel like trying to appeal to the nostalgia crowd, like myself. So I feel like that they're total shoehorns and that they're too obvious, so I've decided to exclude them from this list. Now then, under the actual 20 archetypes, number 20, and again, no particular order, Heraldics. Heraldics, as a lot of you guys know, is one of my favorite archetypes out there. I desperately want to see these guys get more support in general, but however, a Link monster is something that they really need. Heraldics are a rank 4 spam deck that really focuses on getting stuff in the graveyard and just reviving them. They have 2 revival spells in that neither one of them are once per turn, including one that just literally says target 2 Heraldics, special summon from your graveyard, immediately go into a rank 4 Xyz monster with them. The deck is really fun. It used to be one of the better rogue decks in my opinion, especially for being rank 4 spammy. It could do a lot of the stuff that the faster rank 4 spam decks could do, but however, it does take a little bit to get set up. So I would really like to see a Link monster for the deck. So personally, I would like to see the Link monster just require 2 Heraldics, downward pointing arrows, corners, I don't care where they are so long as they point down, and then have the effect of something along the lines of be able to discard a Heraldic and then either add a Heraldic from your deck to your hand or put it in the graveyard. That would be really nice. That would help get you stuff in the graveyard. That would be able to get you to your Heraldics a bit faster and could potentially be a double search if you decide to send a copy of Leo. Or discard a copy of Leo, because Leo also lets you search out a Heraldic. Alternatively, I would really like to see something that does some sort of spell and trap searching. Yes, the field spell is literally a Dragon Ravine for the deck that does search out the spells and traps, but however, it locks you into archetype only stuff, and that's not very good. I really do want to see them get a spell and trap card searcher that doesn't lock you into only being able to make the Heraldic Xyz monsters, because it would be just really nice to be able to just do that without having to be locked into just the Xyz, which would be really nice. So yeah, something along those 2 lines. Maybe something else like an extra normal summon, or being able to revive more monsters from the graveyard, or recurse stuff from the graveyard to your hand would be really nice. Next up is Gimmick Puppets. So Gimmick Puppets is another Zexal deck that I really, really like. This deck pretty much all got printed in one go back in a Premium Gold series like forever ago, and then Konami kind of forgot this archetype existed. So Gimmick Puppets are again another Xyz-focused archetype that focuses on summoning stuff from the graveyard, but however, instead of rank 4s, they focus on rank 8s. And also ranking up those rank 8s into rank 9s. The deck is pretty cool and a lot of fun, but however, you need more zones to be able to summon out your dudes. You used to be able to churn out a bunch of Xyz pretty easily. Not as easy as like Blue Eyes or Galaxy Photon, but however, pretty easily. Of course, now, under Master Rule 4, that's not the case, which does suck a lot, but however, I would like to see this deck and get a link monster that not just points downward, because that's really obvious, you know, something that points downward, but also something that lets them get stuff in the graveyard a bit easier, and maybe also add some more revival, because the deck doesn't really have, even though it's like weirdly focused on reviving from the graveyard and just churning out rank 8s, it doesn't have too many ways to just constantly revive out of the graveyard other than Jury Doll. And also, I would like to see it maybe have something to recur your banished Gimmick Puppets, because Gimmick Puppets also banish a lot of their own monsters. Additionally, I'd like to see them be able to search out rank up magic Argent Chaos Force. Argent Chaos Force is their rank up spell. Granted, yes, it's banned here in the TCG for some stupid reason. Yes, I know it's to stop an FTK, but come on, Konami could have done that a bit simpler without killing, well, hurting another deck even more so. I digress. But maybe a link monster that can, like, I don't know, discard a Gimmick Puppet, search out a Gimmick Puppet monster, or one of their spells or traps, or one of their quick plays, well, one of their rank ups, or heck, any rank up really, and we'll see the rank up thing pop up again later on. But however, I would really like to see them be able to do that. This deck heavily, like, really does rely on its rank ups, because Jury Doll does knock you into only being able to summon Gimmick Puppet monsters with her, which is rather annoying. So, and also, I don't know if you guys have ever read the upgrade, the like ranked up version of Strings, but it is stupid. Pop everything that ever has a string counter and burn your opponent and draw a card. I love it. This deck has a lot of things going for it, and I feel like a link monster with some decent to busted effects could really help it out. Moving on, I didn't know what to call this. Odd Eyes, Performapal, Pendulum Magicians, Yuya's deck, basically. I don't care which of these three get a link monster, but one of them. Odd Eyes, Performapal, or Pendulum Magicians, because, well, we all know that more than likely they would support all of them. Now, of course, I already can hear the comments typing, but Electromite, yeah, that's cool and all, but I want to see an archetypal one, okay? This is for archetypal. Pretend Electromite doesn't exist. Okay, yes, Electromite is, like, not debatably the best link monster for pendulums, and heck, arguably one of the best pendulum monsters in the game. I mean, wait, pendulum, Lynx monsters in the game. But however, I feel like an Odd Eyes Link monster is kind of a given, because Odd Eyes does have literally every single summoning type. He has a fusion, a sync, well, he actually has several fusions, several synchros, several Xyz, and also, of course, a single ritual monster. So a pendulum is kind of a given. If we see any of them at all get a link monster, it'll more than likely be an Odd Eyes monster, maybe a Performapal or Pendulum Magician, but however, it would be just fine and dandy to see an Odd Eyes. What would it do? I don't know. Electromite's already good enough. I don't know what they could possibly do to make an Odd Eyes link monster possibly as good as Electromite, if not better, other than maybe, I don't know, giving us freaking Clearwing over here. We still don't have him. God dang it, Konami. Okay, moving on. Onomatopoeia, which, for those who don't know, is Gaga, Dododos, Go Go Go, ba ba ba, Acha-cha, all those different Yuma decks, you know, the multiple sounding names. If we get one, it'll more than likely be Gaga, because that was Yuma's most prominent of his Onomatopoeia monsters. But however, I just felt like having to, well, include all of them, because the last few bits of support for this deck is any indication Konami was really trying to unify them all. I don't know why I didn't just name them all Gaga, but I digress. So, What could a YgoAmino Link monster possibly do? Well, obviously downward pointing arrows would be nice. Maybe something to be able to add YgoAmino monsters, or heck, any of the Onomatopoeia archetypes. Granted, that would be a very long laundry list of monster types from your deck to your hand. It would probably need 2 monsters with different names, more than likely, because, well, let's just be honest, YgoAmino, Dododo, Go, gotta make them useful in all of them. More than likely also be able to revive them from the graveyard. YgoAminos actually surprisingly have a decent amount of revival from the graveyard effects, and heck, that's actually like their main way of actually being able to spam out monsters, which is kind of sad. But however, it'd be just really cool in general to see this deck get some more support. I know Yuma doesn't have a lot of fans, but I know YgoAmino Girl does, so I don't know. Maybe a Link version of her, that'd be cool. Next up is Speedroids, a fan favorite from ArcV. Speedroids are a really cool synchro-focused archetype. And seeing as how we're more than likely moving on to the synchro part of Reigns, we're probably going to get some sort of synchro support. I've heard rumors that Nordics might be the next theme in like the next main set. That's why we're getting a Link monster. I would love that to be the case. I don't know. That'd be cool. Please, Konami, give my Nordics some love. But anyways, so Speedroids, back to the topic. Speedroids are a really fun toy-based archetype with a dragon as our boss monster, because, I don't know, dragons and toys go hand in hand, I guess. But Speedroids were definitely one of the most hardest hit ArcV archetypes from the Master of 4 change. They used to be able to spam out easily anywhere between 2 to 4 synchro monsters in a turn given their hand, and before Terratop got limited. But however, after getting the double whammy of Terratop and, well, Link monsters coming out, the deck really did get hurt a lot. Now granted, we do have Great Fly, but he doesn't do much for the deck. So what I would really like is see a Speedroid monster, a Link monster that lets you recur Speedroids from graveyard to your hand. Speedroids do have ways of getting Speedroids back to their hand, but however, a lot of those are hard once per turn effects and are spells. Not to mention this deck has no way of searching out its spells and traps. So a way to search out Speedroid spells and traps would be great. I don't know exactly how they would go about it. Maybe if like a Speedroid were summoned to its Link zone, you can search out a Speedroid spell or trap card. Now granted, again, most of their spells do not have Speedroid in the name, so they'd probably have to say a spell or trap card that has Speedroid in the card text. That would probably work out pretty well. And then maybe something that helps out with the clear wing part of it, the dragon focus stuff. Like maybe once per turn you can target a monster that you control, change its level or something. You know, something like that that really helps bolster the deck's synchro capabilities. I honestly almost want to say it should be a Link 3, but a Link 2 is obviously would be the best of it. Next up, and this was super obvious, Raid Raptors. Raid Raptors not only got screwed over by us still not having Arsenal Falcon, but however, I mean that also doesn't matter to the OCG because they have it, but however, they got double whammied by their own inhibitions and Master of 4. Now what do I mean by their own inhibitions? Raid Raptors are the most obvious example of ArcV syndrome. Or what is that? Well, basically everything's locked into their own archetype. Okay, if you use Fuzzy Lanius, one of the deck's best monsters, you are locked into only summoning Raid Raptors for that turn. If you use several other monsters whose name escapes my memory, you are locked into only Raid Raptors for that turn. There are some monsters in the deck that can only be used for Raid Raptor XC summons. Granted, that's not as important as making, you know, links, but however, you get the point. A lot of their stuff locks them into only being able to make Raid Raptor cards in that turn. And while yes, the deck has gotten 2 Link monsters that they can use effectively in being that Daruma dude, firefighting Daruma dude, and also a wee little apprentice, I don't know, what's a cat academia Link monster. Both of them work great for the deck, but however, because of that in archetype only restriction, the deck has a hard time balancing that out. If you want to be able to use those other 2 generic Link monsters, you basically have to cut out Fuzzy Lanius from the deck, and Fuzzy Lanius is one of your best monsters. Not only does it search another copy of itself, but it summons itself from the hand for free, just for having a Raid Raptor on the field, and locking yourself out of that is insanely stupid. So having a Link monster for Raid Raptors would be an amazing prospect. I don't even care what it would do, as it could be a generic vanilla, need 2 dark monsters or need 2 Raid Raptors, and as long as it had a Raid Raptor, as long as it had Raid Raptors in the name, I would be fine. I don't care what it would do. It could do anything. Preferably it would search their rank ups. Because this deck, despite relying so heavily on rank ups, does not have any rank up searchers other than Tribute Lanius, and he only searches the quick play after killing something by battle. You get the problem here, right? Raid Raptors need a Link monster, and it hopefully would have a way to search out their rank ups. Moving on, Predaplants, and unfortunately there's no good fan art of Predaplants and no good screenshots of Predaplants, so here's a picture of Starving Venom instead. So, Predaplants have a lot of big issues. But, however, one of their most prominent is, obviously, of course, Master Roll 4. This deck used to be able to churn out an easy 2 fusions a turn, if not more, depending on their hand. Of course, you know, I mean, that goes par for the course of any rogue of non-meta deck. But, however, it really did get hurt by Master Roll 4. The deck now has to decide if it wants to make a Link or go for a fusion, because if you guys don't know how Predaplants work, they like to fusion with monsters on the field. They don't have any real meaningful way of searching out polymerization, despite heavily utilizing it for certain monsters, like Starving Venom. But however, they do have ways to fuse on field, and really not fuse in hand too much. And now you got to go through the trouble of getting your dudes on field, and then choose, do I want to make a Link monster like Wee Little Princess? Or the Arrow Mage Link monster that we still don't have in TCG, or do I want to make a fusion? It's really tough. Now, granted, a Link would not really help with that. We would still need some other support, but it could go a long way. Like, for instance, being able to add polymerization from deck to hand, something the deck is sorely lacking. Yeah, funnily enough, out of the 3 or 4 fusion-focused archetypes from ArcV, this is the only deck that does not have a consistent way of searching out polymerization every turn to keep fusion summoning. And before you go, oh, but what about Darling Cobra? He's a once per duel search effect. That is not good enough for a fusion-focused archetype that wants to fusion summon every single turn. Okay? That is not good enough. Okay, so a way to search out polymerization, a way to get out more monsters on the field to make up for making the Link monster instead of going for your Starving Venom, your Chimera Aphasia, or your Dracosteplia if we ever get it in TCG. And same thing with Predaplast. God dang it, Konami. We're still missing like 10 cards from the freaking Link from the Dimension box. I'm so annoyed. But anyway, so Predaplants need something that like works like that. Like maybe once per turn you can send a Predaplant from your deck to the graveyard to add polymerization from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Maybe that might be too busted. I don't really care. This deck needs help, all the help it can do. And then maybe also give it a way to bring back a Predaplant, like make it a hard once per turn. Make it where you have to choose if you want to search or if you want to bring back a Predaplant. That'd be great. I'm just saying it needs more ways of getting monsters on board and needs more ways of searching out polymerization other than a once per duel effect. Okay. Superheavy Samurai is up next. Now, funnily enough, Superheavy Samurai, I'm going to be honest, is probably one of the few archetypes on here that really does not need a Link monster. But, however, it is one that could really benefit from one. Now, why do I say that? Well, while we do have Mrs. Radiant and we do have Cleaver Genius, both of which the deck can make relatively easily, a Superheavy Samurai Link monster could go a long way in helping out the deck. This deck severely lacks search power and draw power. Yes, there is, of course, the crossbow that searches out any super heavy from your deck to your hand, but however, that's a once per turn effect, and it's got to go from field to grave to be able to search. Something that lets you get your super heavies in graveyard would greatly benefit too, as a lot of super heavies have multiple effects, one on field and one in graveyard usually. You know, like we could get Flutist in graveyard to protect our super heavies from targeting. We could get I don't know, freaking the Piercer in the graveyard to be able to use its effect to search, because if I remember right, I can get it off from just going anywhere. But I digress. And also something that lets them summon out more monsters. This deck, once it like empties out its hand and it gets going, it can really just start losing out on the monsters. You know, it really does need a lot more support, and while the 2 generic links we do have right now are perfectly serviceable, a Super Heavy Samurai Link monster would go a long way in helping it out. Moving on, Ancient Gear. Who did not see this one coming? Ancient Gear is probably, like, it gained a lot of following. It gained a huge following from ArcV. Okay, Ancient Gear already had a bit of a following, like, fan base from GX and the occasional support it got here and there. And then Ancient Gear was like one of the most prominent bad guy archetypes in ArcV. It got a lot of really cool stuff from ArcV. And then, while yes, we did get some of their best stuff after ArcV, they still are severely limited in what they can do thanks to Master Rule 4. And again, like with Superheavy Samurai, you do have 2 link monsters that you can use that are perfectly fine for the deck, you know, Mrs. Radiant and Crayford Genius. But however, an Ancient Gear link monster would be very beneficial. Something that maybe lets you tribute summon your Ancient Gears using your opponent's monsters instead, you know, or maybe it lets you use one of them as a tribute for it instead. And then maybe also something that lets you search Overload Fusion or Power Bond, or heck, any of the Ancient Gear spells or traps, or maybe it gets you an extra normal summon, because Ancient Gears are heavily reliant on that normal summon if they don't open Catapult. And if you do open Catapult, you're kind of screwed over. Well, if you don't open Catapult, you are kind of screwed over, and then you gotta, you know, normal summon your Wyvern, search out the Catapult, and then that's pretty much the end of your turn there. So something that lets you do an extra normal summon would be very beneficial. I imagine an Ancient Gear Link monster would probably be a Link 1, give you an extra normal summon, maybe have like a text on it that says it is ignored for the effect of Catapult, so you can still use Catapult while you have the Link monster on the field. Maybe give it a downward pointing arrow. I mean, it could really point up, but basically what I was kind of thinking was you could then use it for going into Crayford Genius or Mrs. Radiant after use it as a stepping stone to make one of the other 2 Link monsters, so that then you can just go off even more. That was just my general idea with it. Obviously, probably not the best thing in the world for an Ancient Gear deck, but however, I'm not a card maker for a reason. I'd still really like to see Ancient Gears get a Link monster. Next up is the Resonator / Red Dragon Archfiend. I'm not really sure what to call this. Also, there was the red deck that Jack Atlas had throughout the ArcV era. And yeah, I just really like to see this get more support. You know, we see a lot of Yusei love. Granted, Yusei hasn't, 5Ds in general, has been pretty much widely ignored by Konami as of late. But however, whenever they do give like anything from 5Ds any support, it's always for Yusei. And I feel like Red Dragon Archfiend has kind of gotten ignored. Granted, yes, we did get a huge buff from High Speed Riders alongside, you know, like Speedroids and stuff, because a lot of the stuff from the manga and from the anime that we hadn't had previously did get released, and that's nice and all, but Red Dragon Archfiend still needs a bit more. Resonators as well, obviously, you know, they go hand in hand. Maybe also the red in there. I kind of, like, it's really hard to make the red archetype an actual archetype, because then you'd have to, like, list the hundreds of cards that say, like, 100 and stuff like that, and ignore them, but that would be kind of silly. So, something for this deck would be really nice. Now, obviously, a lot of people will just say, oh, Needle Fiber! But, again, I'm talking about archetypes here, okay? Something that can maybe summon a Resonator from deck, or let you manipulate the level of a monster to make something level 5, so that then you can easily make Red Dragon Archfiend, or any of his various variants, a lot easier. It'd go a long way in helping out. And I just realized I keep saying that in this. Red Dragon Archfiend, it'd be really cool to see him get some support. I mean, heck, we've seen Kite recently get some support and stuff, so I think some other rivals getting support would be great. Heck, even Chaz got support lately. So, yeah, again, why not Jack? Moving on, speaking of rivals, Cyber Dark from good old GX. Now, Cyberdarks did get recent support in Legendary Duelist 2, if I remember right, where they actually became a playable deck. But, however, I would still really like to see them get a Link monster as well. Something that really just helps them get going. This deck really does need multiple normal summons, so something that like maybe is super generic, needs 2 dark machines, gives you an extra normal summon for Cyber Dark monsters. That way, so you can get going with the deck. Maybe have like a built-in immunity to like being destroyed by battle, but have low attack or something. And maybe have something that lets you dump a well, not a cyber, but a dragon that's level 3 or lower to the graveyard to be able to like search out a Cyberdark monster. That could help out a lot. Maybe that'd be a bit too busted, but this deck really could use something like that. It'd be great. Moving on, we got Roids. Speaking of more GX stuff, Roids. Roid Rage. Roids also got some support recently, but however, it was too little too late. This deck is... heck, it needs a whole overhaul. But however, yeah, it's... a Link Monster would help out a lot. Okay, I can't really say much more than that. This deck needs a way to be able to search out its main fusion spell, Superheavy Conjunction Union, or whatever the hell it's called, so that then you can, you know, actually fusion summon your big fusions. By the way, fun fact, that fusion spell can only summon like 2 of their fusions, which is really sad. This deck just needs so much support and so much to get going. The recent support was really good and really does help out the deck a lot, but however, it does get hurt by not being able to, you know, I don't know, have more than one fusion monster on the field. And while yes, the big mobile-based dude with 5,000 defense is cool and all that, hey, he can bounce, he can move himself out of the extra monster zone. That's cool and all, but that also like encourages you to just keep summoning more and more copies of him instead of summoning your other fusions, because then you got to keep moving him. Although I might be wrong, maybe you can move some of your other dudes. I can't remember. I haven't read them in forever, but I digress. Roids could really use a bit of Roids, if you catch my drift. Moving on, another big fan favorite, DDD. This deck, oh my god, the DDD Facebook community I'm a part of, people keep clamoring, hey, when are we getting a DD Link Monster? When are we getting DD? It's either, when are we getting Genghis, or when are we getting a DD Link? That's literally all people ask about on the communities nowadays. And they need both, really, in all honesty, but I digress. So, DDDs are one of the saddest examples of Archetype syndrome, where, oh, hey, this deck that could spam out, it was so cool, you used to be able to do a fusion, synchro, exceeds, pendulum summon, all in one turn. Now you're lucky if you can do 2 of those. Because now you gotta first dedicate resources to make a Link Monster, and then you can dedicate resources to making your other stuff, and even then, you won't be able to do everything that you used to be able to do. It's really sad. I really hope that this deck gets some support. I don't even care if the Link Monster really does. It could be a Link 2 or a Link 3. I don't care which. It needs to be a Link Monster that points downward. That's all I really care for DDD. They need a Link Monster that could really do that and open up zones. Master King, Archfiend, and Electromite are both really good substitutes right now for DDD. Although once we get Crystron Needle Fiber, he's like arguably the best for the deck. Actually, it's not even an argument. He is the best for the deck. So until we get him, Electromite and Master King are like your only decent replacements. Maybe Wee Little Apprentice, but considering that the DDDs have so many different like attributes, that might not be the best scenario. So I digress. I would still really like to see this deck get some more support, some love, some, you know, links. Also, Prince DDDD, Super Dimensional Magna Paradox dude. I can't remember his name. Seriously, he's the DDD with the 4 Ds from the manga, has the longest like freaking card name I've ever seen in an Yu-Gi-Oh! Moving on, Morphtronics. Morphtronics is a really cool archetype from 5Ds that has a lot of love for it. One of the biggest reasons why people love this deck before Master Rule 4 was because it was one of the easiest decks to use to make Shooting Quasar. And not just one Shooting Quasar, but multiples. A lot of draw power, a lot of spam power, really good consistency, a lot of fun. Was it competitive? No, it wasn't, but it was a fun deck that people loved. And then Master Rule 4 came out and said, haha, I hate Master Rule 4. Have you guys got that yet? This deck is really, really fun and deserves to be able to be played again. Yes, again, Needle Fiber. Yeah, okay, Needle Fiber, if we ever get it, is a great link for the deck. But a Morphtronic Link Monster would be pretty cool. Something that like maybe lets you move their battle positions so you can make use of their defensive effects forward chains, because typically speaking you don't get to do that. Or like maybe something that gives you an extra normal summon, or lets you search out their spells and traps, or lets you summon out the monsters easier. Something really cool like that would be great for Morphtronics, and I would love to see that. Heck, I'd love to see all these. Moving on, Neospacians. Okay, so I know heroes are getting some love here shortly. You know, we're getting extra hero, what's his face, Wonder Driver that nobody really cares about, and then also a DDD, sorry, not a DDD, a Destiny Hero Link 3 coming out in the Legendary Duels. But however, Neospacians, while they're in need of an entire overhaul, they are one of the big fan favorites decks alongside the 5 hero archetypes from GX that people absolutely love. A lot of people grew up watching GX, I know I did, and the heroes and the Neospacians, with all the love that they're getting randomly between a TCG exclusive spell card and soon to be another TCG exclusive fusion monster, this deck could really do with some more support. A Link monster would be amazing. Something that just needs 2 Neospacians and gives you, I don't know, the ability to normal summon Neos from your hand for free, or give you an extra normal summon. Or heck says, when this card is Link Summon, special summon Elemental Hero Neos from your deck. How cool would that be? Or hey, maybe say, your Neos fusion monsters do not have to return to the extra deck, and that effect is just period negated while this card is on the field or in the graveyard. How cool would that be? God dang it, Konami. Make a really cool Link for Neospacians, and people would love you guys, Konami, okay? Like, seriously, it'd be great. I love it. I don't even care if it'd be a Link 1, Link 2, Link 3, whatever, as long as it points downwards and has a decent to really good effect. If the rumored effect of Nebula Neos is as good as it is, give us a good Neospacian Link monster too. Moving on, Amazonas. Okay, so again, I know people are going to be screaming, Isolde! And yeah, I know, I did a deck profile with Amazonases with Isolde a while ago. It's awesome, I love it. So, Amazonases, though, are one of those random decks from forever ago that got more love in Arc V. They brought it back, you know, like it was a deck used by My Valentine back in the original, and then they brought in the Tyler sisters for Arc V, revitalized the deck, and not just that, but gave it a lot of cool stuff from Legendary Duels 2 or 3. I don't even remember which Legendary Duels we're on right now. It's been a while, but an Amazonas Link monster would be really cool. Something that maybe makes it to where you get to search out an Amazonas from your deck to your hand, search out a polymerization so you can go for your fusions, maybe make it to where you can use your opponent's monster for tribute fodder to be able to summon out your queen, to do stuff like that. Something that would greatly benefit the deck, you know, maybe give it Queen's effect to where your Amazonases can't be destroyed in battle, but also maybe make it to where if you control Queen or Empress, your Amazonases can't be destroyed by card effects too, you know, something like that. That'd be really cool, because then you could really maximize the effect of, well, the whole ram your swordswoman into your opponent to inflict burn damage to your, well, yeah, burn damage, reflect damage, whatever you want to call it, to your opponent. It'd be really great. This deck deserves a lot more support. It got a lot recently, and it's now actually a fun, playable rogue deck. But, however, I feel like I could do with just a bit more and maybe be something meta. I doubt it, but it'd be cool. Please, Konami, try it. Moving on, speaking of another My Valentine archetype, I almost called him Harketype. Harpies. Who doesn't love Harpies? Harpies are a lot of fun. They're really cool. You know, they focus on a lot of back row destruction and just being able to churn out stuff relatively easily. They weren't too heavily hurt by Master Roll 4. The deck generally only would spam out one, and I can't even really call it spam out, but summon one extract monster at any given time, unless you got lucky and had Hysteric Sign with a grave full of Harpies. But it's still a deck that I feel like a lot of people would absolutely love to see get more support in general. And a Link monster would be a great step in that right direction. It could be, heck, it could be even just generic Winged Beast support that maybe lets you summon a Winged Beast from your deck, and then maybe has some bonus effect if you control a dragon to really try and get you to play Harpy's Pet Dragon or Harpy's Baby Pet Dragon, which, by the way, we need another version of Harpy's Pet Dragon, because none of the 3 versions of Harpy's Pet Dragon we have are actually good. So get on that and retrain Harpy's Pet Dragon, Konami, because that'd be cool. So a Link monster would go a long way in helping out that. Maybe make it to where if you control Harpy's Pet Dragon, your Harpies all become level 7 and not just that one monster, so that you can really try and go for a lot of rank 7 plays, or maybe do some other really cool shenanigans with that. Harpies have a lot of really interesting ideas and play styles that you can go around. You can go for a more stun build, you can go for a more OTK build, you can go for a more, you know, freaking spam build. Any one of those would be really great. Support it, Konami. It's one of those nostalgia archetypes that Konami has seemed to have forgotten, which is kind of sad. moving on, we got the legendary dragons. Now, hear me out, okay? I know some people are going to be like, but that's not an archetype, but hear me out, okay? So the legendary dragons, for those who don't know, consists of the Claw of Hermos, the Fang of Critias, and the Eye of Timaeus. I probably got one of those wrong. But however, there are 3 legendary dragons. They're all really cool. They're all spell cards that are treated as a legendary dragon. Insert their name. Legendary Dragon Hermos, Legendary Dragon Critias, Legendary Dragon Timaeus. And then have bonus that have like basically fusion summon effects based on whatever on a certain thing. Hermos uses a monster to make an equipped monster. Critias turns a trap into a monster. Timaeus fusions with Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl to make a various knight version of them. Or you can summon Dark Paladin instead, but hey, that's cool too. So doing something like this to where we could actually be able to play these, because right now the biggest issue with these monsters or spells that are monsters at the same time, it's confusing. The biggest issue with them right now is that they're not searchable. There is no way to search out Critias, Hermos, or Timaeus. And there's no way to search out their kind of sort of fusion spell, Legend of Heart, that basically says you pay 2,000 life points, tribute one of your warriors you control, banish any copy of the legendary dragons, one of each, and then summon one legendary knight from your deck, hand deck or graveyard up to the number of legendary dragons with different names you banished. That then can get you out your 3 dudes, who then you can fusion summon, contact fuse into Knight of Destiny to make. Now, the biggest issue right now is that none of these 4 cards are searchable. There's no super easy way to get them in the graveyard other than Full Spirit of Goods, and even then there's no really good warrior. So my idea was to have a Link 1 that says 1 dragon or spellcaster monster. It can be a normal, so you can encourage it to be used in Red Eyes, Dark Magician, or Blue Eyes, you know, the 3 decks that they were made for. And then make it to where once per turn you could pitch a spell to add a Legend of Heart or a Legendary Dragon card from your deck to your hand. How cool would that be? And then make the Link monster a warrior, so that then whenever you want to activate your Legendary of Heart, your Legend of Heart, you could just tribute the Link monster. Because, hey, that's cool, why not? You know, that'd be really cool. And then what would also be really nice is that if it could say something like along the lines of your opponent cannot respond to Legendary Dragon cards or Legend of Heart, you know, make this deck really cool. This is a deck that a lot of people really love. And heck, every now and then you will duel against people trying to play a Legendary Dragon deck. People love this part of their childhood from the original series. This sub-archetype series, whatever you want to call it, really does deserve a lot more love. But again, like with Harpies and a few other old archetypes, it's just kind of been forgotten. Konami printed them and forgot about it. And I would love to see these get more support and love. Also, Konami, make Timaeus searchable for Dark Magicians so that we can actually summon Dark Magician to Dragon Knight and actually protect our spells and traps. Next up, we got Evil Heroes. So I'm sure you're probably wondering why Evil Heroes in particular. Well, I've kind of been on a I miss Evil Heroes, I want to make this deck work again binge lately. And out of all of the hero archetypes that are fully printed, Evil Heroes are the ones that have gotten the biggest shaft from Konami. You know, Elemental Heroes, if you search Elemental Hero, there's like 200 cards for the archetype. For just one of the 5 hero archetypes, there's like 200 cards. Destiny Heroes are getting even more support here shortly, and have gotten support a lot lately, thanks to Astor being in Arc V, and thanks to him being a big part of the Duel Links game meta. Like, heck, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Destiny Heroes were like one of the top decks in Duel Links for a while, and that's one of the reasons why they keep giving Destiny Heroes more support as of late. And then, you know, you got Neospacians getting more support. Vision Heroes are being printed one at a time. It's driving me nuts. And then Masked Heroes were actually like relevant for a while, and yet Evil Heroes are completely ignored. And I get it that, yes, part of it is because they rely on using the old Elemental Heroes and stuff, but however, there's a lot more to it. And heck, in general, you could put any hero archetype here, but, you know, Destiny Heroes are getting their own Link monster here shortly, and I feel like each of the 5 hero archetypes could get their own. Instead, we got an extra hero, because now we need a 6th hero archetype. God dang it, Konami. I digress. So what could an Evil Hero Link monster do? Well, it could be a 2, it could be a link to, point downwards. I'll let you search out Dark Fusion. Dark Fusion is objectively better than polymerization, but what really hinders it is that it's not searchable, or not as easily searchable as polymerization. You know, polymerization has King of the Swamp, Fusion Sage, etc. Like, there's a laundry list of cards that support polymerization. Dark Fusion, though, has Sabatiel and Darling Cobra, neither of which are particularly good for the card to be able to search out. Dark Calling is also not searchable either. Additionally, this is just a part of like the general thing with them relying on the old elemental heroes. Give them like give the link like a power-up bonus to like, oh hey, elemental evil heroes that point to it get 1,000 more attack or something, because you know, or heck, can't be targeted, or no wait, no, Dark Fusion does that, but like can't be destroyed by battle or card effects or something. You know, give them some sort of protection. That'd be really cool too. I don't know. I guess I'm just grasping at straws with this one. I've always loved the evil heroes and their designs and their whole idea of just improving upon the original heroes, and I'd love to see Konami give something other than Elemental and Destiny Heroes support. Wow, that is really weird coming from me, as much because considering Destiny Heroes is like in the top 3 of my favorite archetypes. Moving on to our last one, Venom. Now, Venom in general needs more support, but I'm putting them here in particular because, well, how do I put it? Reptiles need love, okay? We get him... Dinosaurs got revitalized, and we're getting Thunder's getting an actual decent archetype. So, well, you know, the Thunder Dragons. So, Konami, start branching out and give Reptiles some love. Give Pyro some love. Give Aqua some love. Give Sea Serpent some love. You know, we got all these different types in the game that barely even have a single deck. Venoms have, what, 3? I mean, sorry, Reptiles have, what, 3 or 4? Venom, Reptilian, Worm, and I think that's it. Yeah, so like 3 archetypes. And Venom is honestly, for me, like the most saddest in terms of viability. Venoms have such a cool idea and playstyle. Venom counters ideally should be able to do so much more in the idea of what they can do. Heck, they have the first freaking Towers-like monster, Venomanaga. If you get her out, she is nigh unkillable without kaijus, because kaijus get rid of everything. But without kaijus, she is nigh unkillable, and it would be really cool to see Venoms get some more support, something that maybe gives you an extra normal summon, that lets you get more Venom counters going. Heck, this deck needs a whole entire overhaul, but a Link monster would be a good step in the right direction, not just for Venoms, but for Reptiles in general, because they're one of the most undersupported, underutilized typing in the game. So like maybe someone that says needs 2 reptiles, gives you an extra normal summon for a reptile monster. Once per turn you can destroy a reptile monster you control to add a reptile from your deck to your hand, or once per turn you can shuffle a reptile from your hand to the deck and then return a reptile from your grave to your hand. That'd be really cool. The reason why I'm saying hand to deck is because you do not want to draw Venomanaga, and getting rid of her in your hand would be really nice. So that'd be just really good generic support for reptiles in general. And I feel like that having a Venom Link monster in particular would be just a nice callback to GX era. So guys, that is it for this list. This is twice as long as I expected it to be in terms of the video length. And I am out of breath from talking for 40 minutes straight. I do these all in one take. I know that's like hard to believe, but I do. I don't do edits. So guys, what do you guys think of this list? Is there any anime archetypes that you feel like that I missed that like are more deserving of these? Do you think maybe having evil heroes on here is a bit stupid because heroes are getting technically 2 Link monsters here shortly? What do you guys think? Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. My birthday's tomorrow actually, so yay for me. I was planning on doing a live stream, but I'm exhausted and I wanted to get some videos done because I am not going to be able to record again until like Friday or Saturday. So guys, oh god, I'm going to go get some tea or something. My throat is killing me for talking so long. See y'all later. Peace out. Goodbye.